Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and in this World's Strictest Parents reaction video, we're going to hear Spencer tell James to get out of your comfort zone. This reaction video is one I have been looking forward to. This is definitely the part of our World's Strictest Parents episode that people talk the most about. They just think it's hysterical. And I have to say, it really is hysterical. Although, I'm a little nervous to see one thing, and that is one person that appears in this, and I'll let you know when we get to that part. But in this particular segment, we really see James change. He gets out of his comfort zone. He tells Spencer, I will not speak in front of other people, yet he does it anyway, and then realizes it wasn't so bad. So let's take a look at what happens here as James ends up going to sing barbershop on barbershop singing night with Spencer and with Quinn. So a little bit of a background there. Spencer and Quinn had at this point been singing barbershop for probably 4 years together already. They were in a quartet as well as in a chorus and had participated in 2 different international choruses. So they really love singing the barbershop style. This is the first exposure to it that James has ever had, and he has some pretty crazy reactions. Let's take a look.
Down in Utah, the guys and I dig a city called Salt Lake.
Tonight, James will be joining Spencer and Quinton in their regular father and son activity, singing with the Beehive Statesman Chorus.
Quinn was actually the one who got me involved in barbershop singing, and so it's another one of those family things that is fun to do. We enjoy doing that.
We away in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight.
I never, ever thought in my life I could have fun with a bunch of other fogies, yeah. Even though I didn't really sing very much, but just at least I came and joined in and that. Yeah, I did enjoy myself. It was quite fun.
Okay, so I have this mixture of emotions right now. It's so funny to see James's reactions to this crazy song, The Lion Sleeps Tonight, that they were working on and practicing at the time. But also, and to see Dave, the guy next to him, who's just singing so loud. He's a tenor, so he has a really high voice. Well, not normally, but like when he's singing, he sings the really high parts, and he's like, bah! And he's like, yep, yep, and he's saying all these funny sounds. I love that man. It's so funny, but it also makes me cry as I see Dave, because I haven't actually seen a picture of Dave. I knew this might happen to me for quite some time. So a few years back, Dave died, and he was such a character. And actually at his funeral, he required suggested that everyone wear a clown nose. He told everyone, when I die, I want everyone at my funeral to call it a party and to wear a clown nose, because I want people to be happy for my life. Anyway, he had quite a few health problems and stuff like that, but he always just gave. And when I think of Dave, I think of who my son, Quinton, has become as a man. Dave was his singing partner. He sang tenor just like Dave sang tenor. And they sang together all the time, and Quinton would come home from singing barbershop and he would say, I just love Dave, Mom. He's just so funny. You know, Dave said this, and always talking about the impact that Dave had on his life. Okay, this is supposed to be the funny one, and now I'm gonna cry. But, you know, the other person on the other side of James in that footage that we just saw is my dad, the one in the mustache. So he sings lead. He kind of like watched out for James that night. But I look at all of those men, you know, James says, I never thought I'd have fun hanging out with a bunch of old fogies, old guys. These old guys really helped my son become a great man, the man that he is today. They were some of his dearest friends. So in our family, we knew that it was more important for our children to have exposure to really inspiring, purpose-filled adults than it was to just hang out with same-age peers. Now, they had their friends, and they did hang out with some same-age peers. But when my son got his Eagle Scout award, and 50 men dressed in those uniforms that you just saw them wear, that they wore every Wednesday night when they would go and practice, came to his Eagle Court of Honor, and they sang to him. They truly were his friends, his support. And he said to me that night, "Mom, is it funny that some of my best friends in the world are like 50 years old?" And I said, "No, honey, it's lucky, because most young boys don't get the opportunity to see what it really means to become a man and to be up close and in it like you are being." So here we have James stepping completely out of his comfort zone just to stand there next to these crazy people singing these crazy songs. And he's like, "Hey, it's not so bad." But this is not all, because Spencer asked him before the night started, "Hey, will you talk to the group? If we put you up in front of the group, will you talk to them?" And James was like, "No way." And then watch what happens.
This is James. He's
Hi,
also from England. You all must know, before James got here, he said, "I will not get up in front of people." If any of you have any questions you would like to ask James about England or about himself, what he does.
James, what do you do for fun?
Well, I go out and I just get off my head and just do what I want to do, basically. Done drugs and that in the past as well, and I drink, so I've kind of got like a little bit of an addiction towards it, so it's kind of something that I feel I like to do it.
So maybe there's something in your life that you could choose, like singing or dancing, that gives you that same high without going to that addiction. There's your advice for the day.
That's very true, actually. That's good advice, yeah.
I was a little shocked, but pleased that he was willing to get up, and I said, "James, the only time we grow is when we do things we don't want to do, and when we get out of our little comfort zone." And so I think that he grew a lot tonight.
First, I said that I wasn't going to do a question and answer section because my confidence wasn't good enough. But then I just decided, why not? At the end of the day, I need to improve on my confidence. Why not get up in front of loads of people and talk about myself and answer questions what they're asking me? It made me feel better. I think that's why I'm so buzzing at the minute, because it made me feel much better, much more confident.
Okay, so James is saying he feels really buzzy at the minute. He's like excited, you know? He had an experience that gave him a high. This is important because James normally goes to chemicals for a high, but he stepped out of his comfort zone. He did something brave, something adult, something mature, something he would have never done before. And he just feels excited about it. He feels like he got a high, a natural high. So cool. I love that he took that step, and I love how my husband nurtured him. When I see this, I think my husband is so great at just taking people by the arm and saying, "You can do this. It's okay. It's not scary," and just leading people past that comfort zone. He's done that for all of my children, and he did that for James that night. It was so beautiful, and he saw some great results of it. A really beautiful part was when one of the members of the chorus asked him, "Well, what do you do for fun?" And he mentions what he does for fun, and you can see that as he's saying it, he's realizing what it sounds like to the group. As you mentioned, well, you know, I drink and stuff and whatever, and I do drugs, and I'm kind of addicted. And it was like this moment, like at an AA meeting, where I was like, I guess I have an addiction, you know, and I'm going to say that right now because I realize what I'm saying might sound like to these people. James is actually a really intuitive guy, and I think he was getting in tune with himself and with the group. He felt like part of the group that night. And I loved that one of the guys was like, "Hey, well, maybe you can develop a hobby. I mean, like singing like we do or something else." And James was like, "That's a pretty good idea. Yeah, I guess I could." I mean, he'd never considered, what if I do something else? What if I spend my energy on something else besides smoking and drinking and drugs and stuff? The cool thing was he did. He changed. When he went home, he didn't spend his energy on that anymore. He decided he was going to break free from all of that and live a more purpose-filled life. we were so excited for him. So excited. One thing that a lot of people don't know about this particular time was while this was happening, I was at home with Hannah. We were making jam and muffins, and she actually said some pretty profound things. I asked her, Hannah, how come for the last 2 days you were so upset and angry all the time, and now all of a sudden you're just so happy? What happened? And she said, well, at my house, if I'm angry, I get my way, or at least somebody else yells back. But here, you guys were just so calm that it didn't work. So we chose to be calm too. She was teaching me what she had learned. Both of them, James and Hannah, that night had learned incredible lessons. We don't get to see Hannah's lesson because James's just stole the show with how funny it was, but they both learned some significant things, and I think they'll always be different because of those lessons that they learned, not just that night, but throughout the whole week that they were with us. Do you like these reaction videos? If so, subscribe, because I actually have many more reaction videos on our episode, and there are other really helpful videos that are about all kinds of things related to your relationships and your family. You might not want to miss those. They come out every single day. So subscribe now, and we'll see you again next time.